it gives me great pleasure to announce our next speaker, who's currently a lead mechanical engineer in the missile maintenance group here at Hill Air Force Base. And before coming to work here at Hill, he spent 8 years with Northrop Grumman as a manufacturing engineer. His bachelor's degree is in mechanical engineering from the University of Utah, and he holds that coveted certificate in manufacturing engineering from the University of Los Angeles. And he is currently working on his master's degree through the Air Command and Staff College. His passion is space exploration, and you'll never know that. You'll never be able to figure that out when he presents. I'm saying that facetiously. You'll see why here in a minute. He is really inspired, and he's making a huge sacrifice today, because right now, as we speak, I believe SpaceX is doing a historic launch, and he's giving that up just for us. So you'll have to watch the recorded version, and you'll know his passion. He actually has applied to be a part of the NASA astronaut candidate program. So we wish him the very, very, very best. But if you need just a little more motivation to get you past life's gravitational pull to your orbit of success, and you need to just have a little bit of follow through in your life, then you definitely are wanting to hear this next presentation from Mr. Barry Swank. Follow the shot. Barry, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Brown. I appreciate that great introduction. I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited to be able to share with all the listeners here who I thank for being here. I'm excited to share with you some experiences that I've had in life, and I hope that these experiences will be of some benefit to you. These are they serve the purpose to motivate you to do better and also try again. And so I'm going to use some examples that come from sports such as basketball, table tennis, or what's commonly known as ping pong, and also experiences from my education and the education of my daughters. So let's get started with the game of basketball. When I was much younger, I was in a game, and one of the players ended up taking a shot at the basket, and I heard this voice from the stand say, "Follow the shot." And it turned out that it was my father. And he kept repeating that over and over again every time somebody took a shot at the basket. So it was, I can't remember if it was halftime or one of the timeouts. I went up to the stands and I said, "Hey, look, I'm not the one taking the shots and missing them. So why do you keep yelling, 'Follow the shot'?" And he said, "It doesn't matter who takes the shot. You follow that shot anyways, because if they miss that shot, now you have the possibility of rebounding and getting that ball." So I decided to put that into practice, and I have done that thereafter in every game I ever played. What I found out was that he was right, that when somebody took a shot, it wasn't guaranteed that they were going to make it. So if I followed that shot and positioned myself, then I had a chance to rebound that missed ball. And here's what happens. When somebody misses that shot and you follow it and you get that rebound, you now have possession of the ball. And if you have possession of the ball, that means that your team also has possession of the ball. And if your team has possession of the ball, then your team stands in a much better position to be able to score and win the game. More than half of the points I ever scored in the games came from following the shot, getting that rebound, and then scoring off that rebound. And life is very much like basketball. We won't always hit that shot, but if we follow the shot, we can get the rebound, and now we have another opportunity to redo, to do what we didn't do the first time. Okay, so now how does this apply to the game of table tennis or ping pong? Let me share that with you. I was in my late 30s when I went and signed up to play table tennis at a local club. I grew up playing table tennis and thought that I was super good, that I could get out there and win. But I was mistaken. On my first visit to the club, I found out that I did not know how to play table tennis. First of all, I did not know how to return a ball using a backhand stroke. I also did not know how to properly loop, and I did not have my footwork down. So I hired the coach. Now, this coach didn't put me out on the floor to play games or matches. He had me practice over and over and over techniques that would then allow me to play. The biggest problem that I had playing table tennis is that I've always struggled protecting the left side of the table. You're probably seeing right for you, but I always struggled protecting the left-hand side of the table. And my opponents knew that. And so what would they do? They would place the ball on the left-hand side of the table, get me completely out of my spot position, and then if I happened to return that ball, then they would then put it on the right-hand side of the table where I was nowhere to be around. So when that happened, my mind, rather than play for me, played against me. And it would say, Barry, there is no way that you can make it to the right side of the table in time to be able to return that ball. You can't do it. But guess what happened? Because of repeated practices of all those techniques, the muscle memory would kick in, and I'd find myself chasing after those balls, even when my mind said that I couldn't make it there. And I surprised myself countless times of being able to return that ball. So imagine, if I was surprised that I got there and returned that ball, imagine the surprise on my opponent's face when that ball hit their side of the table. Now, I didn't always return the ball. I didn't always get there on time, but because of repeated practices, I got there most of the time. And even when I got there, I didn't always hit the ball, but I hit it most of the time. And even when I hit it, I didn't always hit the other side of the table, but I did it most of the time. So imagine if I had not followed through, if I had not followed the shot. I would have stood on the left side of the table, listening to my mind saying, you can't do this, and I would have lost the opportunity to either score or at least stay in the game. So it pays off. You have nothing to lose when you fail at something and then trying again. There's a lot that can go right. Okay, so now, how does all of this go with my experience in college? I studied mechanical engineering, just like Dr. Brown said in his introduction. At the University of Utah, the engineering department requires that mechanical engineers not only take, but that they pass the Fundamental of Engineering exam in order to graduate and receive their diploma. I had to take that exam 3 times before I passed it. It's an all-day long exam, and it's taught every 6 months. So I signed up for it. The night before, I studied for about 5 hours, took the exam, and 2 months later found out that I failed it. I signed up a second time. This time, I studied for about 15 to 18 hours. I took the exam. 2 months later, I found out that I failed it. Now, I could not keep repeating the same thing over and over and think that somehow I was going to pass that exam or that the results would be different. So I had to change something. I had to do something different. So I went to other classmates who had successfully passed the exam and asked them, hey, how did you do it? What worked for you? What did not work? What are your recommendations? What material did you use to study? What techniques did you use during the exam? And I took all of those things and then I applied them. I got rid of all the old studying material that I had. I got new material, and I started studying this time 3 months ahead of the exam. And I also studied for about 130 hours. By the time the exam came, I was ready. I took it, and 2 months later, I received a notice that I had passed it. So 3 times to do that. So for me, it paid off to follow the shot. It paid off completely. If I had not done so, I would have not graduated. And if I would have not graduated, I would have never worked at Northrop Grumman, and the Air Force would have never hired me to come and work here in missile maintenance. It would have never happened. And I would have never been able to apply to the astronaut candidate program that NASA has. So it pays off. I had a lot to lose, okay, and a lot to win. But I chose to go for the latter and be able to win by following that shot. Now, I have another experience, and this is my last experience that I'd like to share with you, and it has to do with my 2 oldest daughters and also with their education. One day I came home and I was looking at their grades and found out that they were failing math. They had an F in math. And it surprised me because they were doing well in the other classes. And so I thought, hey, I've taken so many math classes to get my degree. I fear that somehow this would have been passed down through my genes to them, but no, it didn't happen. So here we are with 2 girls that are failing. We started spending every single night studying math, and we would work those math problems over and over and over again. They never, ever got the math problems right the first time, but we had to do them over and over and over again before they could get the right answer. Not only that, but I also wasn't successful in teaching them correctly the first time. And it took me several attempts before I could communicate to them what they needed to do. We were staying up until way past midnight. I get up at 3:50 in the morning to get ready to be able to catch my van pool to then be able to come here to work. They had to get up in the morning and go to class, and they were expected to stay awake, pay attention, and participate. So it was really frustrating for us to stay up late at night and then struggle through these math problems, but we did it anyways. And here's what happened about 2 months into it. We're doing homework, and one of my daughters says, guess what, Dad? Today the teacher called me to the front of the class and asked me to show them how I solved the math problems. And my other daughter chimes in and goes, oh, I had the same thing happen to me yesterday. And so what did that do for them? That actually showed them that, hey, I have the ability to do this. It's hard, but I can do it. So here I am driving home one day, and the phone rings, and it's one of my daughters, and she says, hey, Dad, guess what? I just got my grade for math. And I can hear her excitement, okay? And I can feel that excitement. And she says, guess what? I got an A in math. So I congratulated her. I was very, very happy for her. And when I arrived home, I found out that my other daughter had also attained an A in math. Keep in mind, these were not just handed over, okay? They worked really, really hard for them. And they had to do it over and over and over. So those long nights of working math problems over and over again until they got them right paid off. It paid off for them. It paid off for me. It made me a better teacher, and it made them a better individual. And now for the rest of their lives, they know that they have what it takes to be able to take something that doesn't work and make it work. Okay? So with all of this that I've shared with you, I've got an invitation or a call of action for you. Life is difficult and it is challenging. You are not always going to get it right the first time or the second time. Sometimes you do, but it doesn't always happen, okay? There's no reason to give up. So my invitation to you is to keep trying despite repeated failures. And while doing so, set the example for others and invite them to also do the same thing. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and I hope this is of good information for you. Thank you.